this theme is mental health is a universal right, as of course is something that WHO prescribes every year. And in schools, it is almost very essential to ensure that every student has a right to a safe and supportive environment that protects them from mental health risks, along with access to high quality mental health care that is readily available, culturally sensitive, and respectful of each and every student's needs. And this approach definitely fosters independence, inclusion, and a sense of belonging within this entire school community that we have. To reinforce this theme, we are facilitating today's panel discussion through a new lens, is what we have titled it, in order to highlight the diverse perspectives that we will see today. And as all of you represent different walks of life, we have with us a principal, a psychologist, a teacher, an entrepreneur, as well as students. And of course, this will provide us with an intersectional lens to delve into this entire idea of accessibility of mental health as a universal right.
Students have to really counter so many emotions, and emotional quotient is what we have to strengthen. And the mental health programs in the school brings this together for the students to brave the situations. You are the bravest ones, my dear students who are sitting there, the 10th and the 11th and the 12th graders, because we have already achieved what we wanted to.
I think it's important to have an environment of acceptance and inclusivity. Only then will we be able to know that okay, people are going through things.
As a student of the generation Alpha, I believe it's essential to cultivate self-confidence and self-love. So firstly, by embracing our uniqueness and imperfections, as no one in this world is perfect. This being imperfect makes us unique, and it makes us who we really are.
It's really stressful these days as teachers. It's very important to protect ourselves physically and of course with all the mental health, because if we are fit and good, and that is when we can do justice to the students at work, which is really important.
We intervene early, then we can prevent a lot of things before it happens, and we can catch on things, risky behaviors and children who are who need help. And help is, as I always say, help is always available. So there are certain things, if we bring on early intervention, we can promote healthy relationships with yourself, with your parents, with your teachers, the whole triad of people.
Like we have to set clear boundaries. Okay, so we have to set it like, okay, this is my time for the work, and this is my time for staying in home, and I want to dedicate my time for my personal well-being. And then we have to prioritize self-care. I think these things are really works well for both even for schools and also professionals.
I would like to say that as you progress through the years of life, you grow with that knowledge, right? So every year you gain some or the other form of knowledge. So of course, by other people who are in your life, or even by yourself, you are expected to perform to the caliber of the knowledge that you have gained every year.
You should be mature enough to handle your emotions. You should be mature enough to have control over what you think and what you say. Sometimes we children do not have control over that, but yet we use social media.
People really look up to influencers and they follow everything they do. And if you have that responsibility, if you have like followers, people following you, you have to be very responsible in what you post and what you depict.
Next on panel, we have Dr. Ruchika Sharma, a psychologist and a school counselor at Suncity School, Sector 54, Gurugram. She has done her master's in clinical psychology, is a hypnotherapist from California Institute, and has a PhD in the same. She has an experience of working as a psychologist for more than a decade now. Her focus mainly lies on enhancing the well-being of students, spreading awareness about mental health, and is a firm believer that she is always available. One just needs to ask for her help. Thank you so much, Dr. Ruchika, for being with her today.
Dr. Ruchika, so we would love to hear from you as an expert in the field. What is your take on the advice that people take from social media?
Hi, good evening. So, as both are young, budding students, has shared Rakshit and Amishi, that it's not a bad space to talk about. There is when a child shares anything on social media, sometimes there is no judgment. There is, you're not the only one who has issues or wants to share something. Then there are a lot of other people who will agree with. So there are certain pros also for sharing certain things on social media, but of course, when we talk about the cons or the disadvantages of sharing your information or your personal details on social media, one thing which Nishi also rightly said, misinformation, misguidedness. There are a lot of people who are not trained therapists, who are not trained psychologists. They will give you a lot of information which is not required. Um, then there can be isolation, there can be polarization, there can be, as Rakshit also pointed out, FOMO, that while others are putting their posts which are uh, very nice about, oh, I have battled mental health without the help of any expert, or the my side of the grass is always greener. It's not always the case. There can be social media addiction as well. There can be cyberbullying, because you don't know who's sitting on the other side of the screen, how your information is adapted and is taken into misinformation. There can be harassment on social media. So I will not say it's a bad space, but yes, of course, we do need maturity to handle, and it's not only students or children. Those who have to understand or maintain a social media hygiene. For adults, also, we do need to maintain a social media hygiene.
Yes. Thank you so much, Dr. Ruchika. And I do agree with all of this information so readily available at the tip of our fingers, like just one click away. It becomes very necessary that the way we filter out this information and the ones that we apply to ourselves needs to be really looked at. Dr. Ruchika, back to you. It is often said that prevention is always better than cure. Can you explain the importance of early intervention in mental health and its impact on individuals and society as a whole?
So when we intervene early, then we can prevent a lot of things before it happens, and we can catch on things, risky behaviors, and children who are who need help. And help is, as I always say, help is always available. So there are certain things, if we bring on early intervention, we can promote healthy relationships with yourself, with your parents, with your teachers, the whole triad of people. We can build up on healthier life, and as it's a healthier life, we're going to promote a healthier society, a healthier country, which is going to lead into a lot of things into our country, and everything. And then, of course, once we identify the risky behavior, once we identify the behavior which needs attention, we can always bring the attention back and understand why a behavior is happening. As a very famous saying in psychology, why is somebody behaving the way they're behaving? So if we can get to the root cause of it, and if we it's like a physical wound. If you cater to it early, it will not become a bigger wound. It will not create a bigger problem in future. So similarly, it's goes for mental health and well-being as well. If we prevent it early, if we give early intervention, we'll be able to prevent a lot of things which can happen in future. And we can identify, as I already said, recognize we can stop the young generation going into spaces where we don't want them to go, as adults, as teachers, as mentors, as parents, everything. So early intervention is always the key.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ruchika. I think, like you mentioned, early intervention research says that, of course, a lot of things that would actually creep up on us in later stages, we can almost like nip the bud, and we can start treatment early. So I think school is where we have to identify, observe, and then refer. Right. So thank you so much, Dr. Ruchika, for that input.
My one final question to Dr. Ruchika, ma'am, is that from a counselor's perspective, what can all the stakeholders teachers, parents, students do in their daily lives to contribute to the realization of mental health as a universal right?
Thank you, Divyangi. So I think as we all talked about why mental health is important, and as beautifully put by Charu ma'am, Raksha ma'am also, and Mr. Baba Baswaraj also, and our young budding students and adults, So there are certain things which we should take into consideration as all stakeholders to maintain and promote our mental health and well-being is to pursue our hobby, learn, how to went out, learn how to cope up, learn how to take care of yourself, which is your physical health. You must do some exercises to ensure your physical health is on point, then to ensure that your mental health is on point, as mentioned by Bhattaraja sir also, that one should meditate, one should listen to music, as one of our young children also spoke about. So you should do certain things, and then accepting yourself that this is who I am, and taking pride in that this is who I am, and I am always a person who is a work in progress, right? And as the saying goes in Sanskrit, aham prakriyasmi, I am always a process. Now, how I do need to trust the process with the 3 A's I always tell my students about: awareness, acceptance, and adaptation. Be aware of who you are, be aware of your surroundings, accept that there are certain things which you need to cater to, maintain sleep hygiene, maintain social media hygiene, and then adapt. Whenever we're aware, we accept things, we do adapt to the change, and always remember, help is always available. You just need to ask for it.
Thank you so much, Ms. Ruchika. We